Yesterday I was reading the comments on my previous video on global warming, and it got me thinking about the greenhouse effect, like how supposedly carbon dioxide accruing in the atmosphere is equivalent to a greenhouse that is heated by sunlight, allowing like the plants to stay warm. And I just don't buy it. Like, even back when I believed in global warming, I always thought that like global warming, greenhouse effect was a dumb name for the phenomena. Like it just made, I think the name itself discredited this thing that back then I still like took seriously and thought it's probably real. But anyways, let's look into it. And yeah, another thing, like, because I don't think that it's equivalent, like gases accruing, like carbon dioxide accruing in the among all the gases in the atmosphere or whatever is up there. It's not the same as, living in a glass house, basically, what a greenhouse is. I just don't see the similarity between them. And like I thought, like, okay, maybe like if they wanna argue that there is a greenhouse effect, then we must be living under the firmament, as it says in the Bible. Like, this is like, if this is true, then I could accept the greenhouse effect as possible. But otherwise, it's like, no, I don't buy it. Okay, let's go through this quickly. Genesis 1:6-8 is, "Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." So it's talking about the waters above and the waters below. "Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day." So in the Bible, and also in many other like ancient myths and religions, they believe that there is a firmament, which is some sort of ceiling or cover or a dome separating the earth from the heavens, or what we call outer space. And like here is a flat earth conception, what it looks like. And of course it doesn't matter whether you think it's whatever the shape of the earth is. It's just, if you believe in the firmament, this is how it could be. So this actually, like, if we live under this thing, then I can accept the possibility that the greenhouse effect is real. But as far as I know, at least how the scientists say, we don't live under this, so I think the greenhouse effect is bullshit. But like, so yeah, here is the same bit from the Genesis I read, and this is from Job 37-18. "Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass?" So according to the Bible, it is similar to a molten, like a brass looking glass mirror. So it's like a hard, somewhat reflective surface, according to the Bible. Okay, this is sort of like the stars. "And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind," from Revelation 6. But, well, it's not really related directly to the firmament. "He set the earth and foundation, so that it should never be moved." This is not related to the firmament either. This is more like whether the earth is moving or not, but it's not relevant to this topic. So here is a very simple article on how a greenhouse, an actual greenhouse, works. So it's the greenhouse works by collecting light and converting it to heat. It's a simplistic view of how a greenhouse works. In addition to capturing light, the greenhouse also stores thermal energy and releases that energy properly. It can help moderate temperature, produce a controlled environment for plants to grow and thrive in. Further, a greenhouse offers protection from wind, rain, snow, and other weather elements, and keeping your fruits from invading pests and animals. Our fruit don't invade pests and animals. Okay, whatever, yeah. So the main task of a greenhouse is to collect solar energy. The greenhouse captures light through its walls and converts it to heat. The effect is similar to that of a vehicle with the windows up. It takes only a few minutes for a light coming in a window to warm up the vehicle to a temperature significantly higher than the outside temperature. Greenhouses work the same way. The darker material within the greenhouse helps to store heat, keeping the surrounding air warmer. The greenhouse is a closed-in environment, like this conception of the biblical earth. So I don't see this working on our current model of the round Earth and with the atmosphere simply being gases and whatnot. So it doesn't make sense to me. And so I guess like if let's say that we do, like, for the sake of the argument, we live under the firmament, and it says that darker material within the greenhouse helps store heat. So I'm not quite sure, like, is there like some darkened material on the window, or where is the darkened material? But let's say that the CO2 like sort of smudges up the firmament glass dome, then I suppose, like, if it lets the sunlight in, but then it doesn't let it out as much, then yeah, I can sort of see it, but no, I don't see it on the current model of the Earth. Here is from NASA's propaganda for kids. NASA's eyes on the Earth. I don't know. It seems very sinister. Okay, what is a greenhouse? Yeah, it explains much of the same stuff as the previous article. And how is Earth a greenhouse? Earth's atmosphere does the same thing as the greenhouse. Gases in the atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide, do what the roof of a greenhouse does. During the day, the sun shines through the atmosphere. Earth's surface warms up in the sunlight. At night, Earth's surface cools, releasing the heat back into the air, but some of the heat is trapped by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. That's what keeps our Earth warm and cozy, 59 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how warm that is. We use Celsius here, so I have no idea. And I'm too lazy to Google it. Okay, let's take a look at this adult website from NASA. The relentless rise of carbon dioxide. So ancient air bubbles trapped in ice enable us to step back in time and see what Earth's atmosphere and climate were like in the distant past. Okay, maybe not. But anyway, they tell us that the levels of carbon dioxide, CO2, in the atmosphere are higher than they have been at any time in the past 400,000 years. During ice ages, CO2 levels were around 200 parts per million. In 2013, they surpassed 400 parts per million for the first time in recorded history. And so yeah, it's basically, they claim it's because of fossil fuel burning. like read some article, but I don't find it right now, where it said that supposedly, like, and I've heard it before, that the greenhouse effect is a natural thing of the Earth, and it happens, but because of these fossil fuels that we are now burning, the rate, like, there is much more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere now because of the fossil fuels, instead of like there like than there would just be naturally, because like there is naturally some carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but it's much the amount is much greater now because of human actions, allegedly, which makes the Earth go warmer. So, and the main problem with this is that I don't buy this greenhouse effect, that the greenhouse effect is somehow a natural phenomenon on Earth, because, well, the Earth is not a greenhouse. The gases around Earth that allegedly exist there, they are not the same as the glass around, or glass-like substance around a greenhouse. And moreover, like, the Earth is like thousands or gorillions of years older than greenhouse technology. So you cannot, like, and it's a natural, like, if it is true what they say, and probably is, that there are CO2 gases in the atmosphere, and it might contribute to keeping the Earth warm. So you cannot name it greenhouse effect, because it's not based on the greenhouse. It's just a natural occurrence on the Earth, and you can call it the CO2 making Earth warmer effect, if that is what it does. I'm not a climatologist or anything like that, so I cannot say what exactly keeps the Earth warm. Like, clearly it has something to do with the sun, but whatever, that's another point. But I just don't like all of this, like, greenhouse effect. Like, comparing Earth to a greenhouse does not make any sense unless we live under the firmament. And I'm not saying we do or don't or anything like that. It just doesn't make sense, this greenhouse effect bullshit. That's my main point. So and yeah, here's this article. From Real Climate, from 2004, how do we know that recent CO2 increases are due to human activities? And over the last 150 years, CO2 concentrations have risen from 280 to nearly 380 parts per million. The fact that this is due virtually entirely to human activities is so well established that one rarely sees it questioned. Well, nowadays you see it questioned. You don't see it questioned in the mainstream media because it's controlled by the same kind of people who push this bullshit. Yet it is quite reasonable to ask how we know this. Yeah, that's good. Okay. One way that we know that human activities are responsible for the increased CO2 is simply by looking at historical records of human activities. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have been burning fossil fuels and clearing and burning forested land at an unprecedented rate, and these processes convert organic carbon into CO2. Careful accounting of the amount of fossil fuel that has been extracted and combusted and how much land clearing has occurred shows that we have produced far more CO2 than now remains in the atmosphere. The roughly 500 billion metric tons of carbon we have produced is enough to have raised the atmospheric concentration of CO2 to nearly 500 ppm. The concentrations have not reached that level because the ocean and the terrestrial biosphere have the capacity to absorb some of the CO2 we produce. However, it is the fact that we produce CO2 faster than the ocean and biosphere can absorb it that explains the absurd increase. So okay, I guess this was the article I was like thinking before, that yeah, there is some CO2 and yeah, and also nature absorbs it and stuff. But this, like, I see like a leap in logic here. I guess certainly I agree. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have been burning fossil fuels and clearing and burning forested land and at an unprecedented rate, yes. And I suppose they do convert organic carbon into CO2. But then it's like, okay, it show the amount of fossil fuel that has been extracted and combusted, and that stuff shows that we have produced far more CO2 than now remains in the atmosphere. Well, maybe, but like I don't see the proof here. Like, how is this related to the atmosphere? Actually, like, they don't really demonstrate how the CO2 that we release here goes to the atmosphere. Like, I don't know what happens to it. Like, well, I think sometimes, like, if you have a coal burning plant, don't they, pollute the environment around them? You can see the, soot or whatever, supposedly, so maybe the CO2 stays on Earth. Maybe it just pollutes the, the rivers and stuff. Like, so I'm not saying it's not harmful, but it might not be harmful the way that these global warmers claim. And yeah, I'm not buying it if we produce CO2 faster than the ocean and biosphere can absorb, and it goes to, like, I cannot accept this explanation. Like, they should, like, maybe there is a good explanation, like, that some global warmer has come up with, but I haven't heard it yet. And they sort of, this is how they brush it off, like, it is so well established that no one, when one rarely sees it questioned, like, you shouldn't question it. Like, yeah, I'm fucking questioning it, so give me the proof. Okay, another quite independent way that we know that fossil fuel burning and land clearing specifically are responsible for the increase in CO2 in the last 150 years is through the measurement of carbon isotopes. Isotopes are simply different atoms with the same chemical behavior, but with different masses. Carbon is composed of 3 different isotopes, for blah 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 blah. So yeah, basically I think they're saying that the kind of CO2 that is in the atmosphere and the kind of CO2 that it gets released when we burn plants and stuff is different, because plants have a preference for lighter isotopes. So it's like different to burn plants and fossil fuels than the atmosphere, and might be I don't know. Well, this I read through this article earlier, but it's quite, like, technical jargon, and like I said, I'm not a climatologist or chemist or anything like that, so I cannot say that this is all wrong or right. But that's not like, somebody was saying, like, see, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, then explain it to me. Like, how does it work without resorting to this jargon? I'm pretty sure this jargon is here just to confuse you. Like, you're saying, like, okay, I don't know what all of this means, so it must be true. Like, no, I don't buy it. It doesn't, like, the whole premise of, the carbon dioxide going up to the atmosphere with the other gases there and forming a glass dome for practical purposes don't make sense to me, unless we actually live under a glass dome. Is this what these agencies are trying to tell us? But whatever. Another thing is, like, how do we know that the carbon dioxide up in the atmosphere has increased, like, exponentially? And apparently they have some sort of satellites that measure it. Like, new technology enables a more effective measurement of gases in the atmosphere comparatively to the currently used techniques. With this technology, it will be possible to measure gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, the gases responsible for global warming and the greenhouse effects. The system has a high potential of applicability in satellites due to its efficiency, compactness, and reduced volume and mass. So yeah, this is from ESA, the European Space Agency, so it's not NASA, but no, I'm not buying this. No. I think, when I see or hear these certain code words like global warming, greenhouse effect, and even all these space agencies, I don't trust any of them. When I hear these code words, I it, rings a bell or triggers something, or I don't mean trigger oh well, fuck, I'm triggered. But it's more I think they're pulling some bullshit, they're lying to us somehow. And here, this is from an article from NASA. New tool for measuring carbon dioxide in the atmosphere shows promise. And it starts off like this. As he soared through the skies over the Atlantic Ocean, Amin Nahir trained his eyes on the controls of a brand new laser-powered tool for monitoring the state of Earth's atmosphere. Nahir, a scientist for NASA's Langley Research Center, looked calm, cool, and collected, but he was staring straight into the face of a technological victory. 3 years and $4.5 million in the making. The Ascend's Carbon Hawk Experiment Simulator, or ACES for short, was making its first engineering flight tests aboard a NASA Langley HU-25C aircraft. It sounds like a fucking science fiction story. If this is about hard science, I don't care about this emotional connection to this pilot, Amin Nahir or whatever. Looking a bit like a more squat version of a Dalek from British science fiction TV show Doctor Who. The 500-pound prototype machine has been installed in the passenger cabin of an airplane. So where's the picture? Is it this one? No, it's another. I guess it's supposed to be here, but it's not working. Wait. Oh, so here's the Dalek. I guess this is what is Amin Nahir? Amin Nahir. I guess this guy. It's just, I don't know. What's this ham radio? That's his gay lover. Why don't you show me the picture of this brand new toy they have? If you're it's like a Dalek. What the fuck is this? The 1930s? Is this the Amazing Mysteries magazine, or what? Why don't you show me the picture? This is fucking internet. Why is it so difficult? If they have these devices and the laser beams are tuned to operate at infrared frequencies, I just don't buy any of this. The beams were... So they measure the amount of carbon dioxide in the air between the airplane and the water with laser beams. And okay, well, why don't you show me an animation or a video? I mean, not an animation, actual video of this brand new laser jet drone thingy, whatever it is, a flying Dalek with laser beams, sharks with freaking laser beams. why you tell me this fucking science fiction story? This is not science. Like, you know, I I have a university master's degree. If I wrote my master thesis like this, I don't think it would, like, this is like emotional manipulation. It's trying to make it sound fascinating and interesting and cool and lasers. This is not fucking science. And yeah, like, as NASA strives to understand forces behind global warming, code word, trigger word, it is searching for ways to make more precise measurements of carbon dioxide gas, considered the primary contributor to climate change. And that goal comes from the scientific community at large. The National Research Council released blah 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 blah. The science community and NASA envisioned a sense a way to fill gaps in the current knowledge about where atmospheric carbon dioxide comes from and where it goes. I thought they knew all of it. Like, why are they then, I don't know, studying it again? Like, I thought it was like settled science. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are they up to? Like, this is all bullshit. Like, it goes like everything they, like, that's why because this, I think the Bible, like, is much more reliable than NASA or ESA or any of this, or any climate change organization. And of course, I'm not saying that the dome or firmament exists either, but like, well, I want to see proof, and I think the Bible is a much more honest source of information than these bullshit artists. So yeah, other measurement tools such as NASA's recently launched Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2 are considered passive instruments. That means they make other carbon dioxide measurements by observing the gas's effect on sunlight, blah 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 blah. And as sunlight passes through the atmosphere, carbon dioxide and other molecules absorb light at distinct frequencies. The pattern of absorption can be as unique as a fingerprint. The intensity of the reflected sunlight from the Earth's surface, which is partially absorbed by carbon dioxide and oxygen, is recorded by the satellite and used to calculate how much carbon dioxide there is between the satellite and the surface. Just sounds so fucking convoluted. I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. So okay, any, like, people who believe in NASA and global warming and stuff, please, like, demonstrate to me how they measure the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Like, I'm not saying they don't do it. They might do it, but, like, I don't buy any of this. They just make, fancy words and, like, they make science fiction. This is a science fiction story. It's probably based on facts. Like, there are probably several factual statements in this, but it's like, I don't know what is the fact and what is the fiction, because this is not a science article. And yeah, another thing I forgot to mention, NASA Langley aircraft. Langley, isn't that like the headquarters for the CIA? Like, and the CIA is involved with psyops. Like, they manipulate the psych. I have to find this quote. Hold on. So this is the quote. I found it from William Casey, the CIA director from 1981, or maybe he said this comment in 1981. And maybe he was the director before, I don't know. But anyway, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. And of course, I don't think their propaganda and lies are limited to the American public. Us Europeans, also many of us seem to believe NASA and all that bullshit, and this is what I think is going on. And you can fucking call me a conspiracy theorist or a skeptic. Like, it's insult, and I don't mean skeptic in the sense as the quote-unquote skeptic community. Hey, there's a picture here. Wow, okay, so he's aboard an airplane and he has a metal box that he is tinkering with. Okay, that's at least something. But wait, is that thing supposed to fly up in the air? I don't see wings or propellers, or I don't think that thing is gonna fly, so it's something different. Maybe it's like his... I think it's like to cool down, like they're having a LAN party, like, you know, playing computer games together, and it's gonna get so hot, so it's to cool down both their computers and the people. And yeah, I think that's what's going on.